let's get to removing the taillights and the rear bumper. The bumper itself is held in by 6 13s, 2 here and 2 here. And then sometimes, depending if your bumper has been replaced or not, there's another one hidden on the frame rails on each side. So the 3 on the driver's side are underneath the car. The 2 on the passenger side are underneath the car. And we have 1 in the battery tray on the inside. This trim is held in by 8 mils all the way around. Same with this. We got some 8 mils on the inside. We have 10 and another 8 right back here. And then once you're inside the car, you're going to need to go ahead and remove the backing off the taillights, which is just these twists right here, just like that on the back. And then we can go ahead and remove the carpet panel, which you will simply lift up on your lower carpet and then pull down and out, and that'll get this panel out. And then we will have to remove this panel to get to the last few bolts on the inside here. But as you can see, we have our 8 mils going across right here. We have our another 8 mil, and we have our 13 right there. And we have some 8 mils tucked behind there. And all of this will come right out. When you're taking off the side panels, don't forget there's actually another 8 mil underneath here. And it's a 10 on the inside. And there are 2. There are 2 in here. There's 1 right there, and then there's 1 right below there for the side. And then we still got to get to this. So what I recommend is just pulling the carpet out down from up here. So it's kind of going, you want to come up and tuck underneath the hooks so that you can just kind of pull it down and out. You don't have to take the whole carpet out. You can just take what you need to. Then we can get back here and just get to the bolts that we need, which are going to be, so we can just get to the one right back there. Alrighty, now that the upper trim has been removed, which I recommend removing first, we now go underneath the car. So like I said before, one of the 13s is in the battery tray. And then we have the other 13 right there. And then as you can see, we have the one on the frame rail. Now on this side, the 2 13s are visible and easy to see. And the last 13, you can remove the 10s to drop the heat shield, or you can just use an extension. And the last 13 is on the inside of here, right up there, just like it is on this side. It's the same thing over here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the 13s, and then the bumper will come right off. And just like that, once you get the 6 bolts out, bumper simply just give it a wiggle on both sides. It just goes ahead and slides right out. And now let's get to taking the taillights off. So now that we got the backing off already, there's just 6 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it nice and pop out. And then you want to carefully pull this tab away and slide. Hard to do it with one hand. Slide the wiring out. Just clipped in there. And then sometimes you'll have to do is just kind of give it a light tapping to get it out, because it's so stuck in the pocket. So go ahead and take these off. License plates, usually just some screws, and then we'll go ahead and get the trunk removed. Okay, now for this trim piece that runs across the trunk, there's a pin, and it's like a push pin. So this goes in to lock it. So what I typically do is, you can try to hit it from underneath, which is just a kind of a major pain, but I'll just take a screwdriver, put it in the middle, and then just hammer the pin through. Just like that. So now it's empty, and we'll go ahead and do that all the way across. And then all you have to do is push the pins up from the bottom. And this panel just pops right off. Then as for the rubber seal here, it splits right here. And there's this little tab that's supposed to connect the two. So we'll just go ahead and remove that. Very common places of rust are in here. As you can see, there's a little bit right there. I'm gonna have to clean up a little bit right there. Very important place to check for rust. So you can see water and moisture just kind of gets stuck there. So we got some rust to clean up all the way around. Another thing to check is if your trunk hinge feels like when you kind of go like this, if it feels like this whole part just kind of drops instead of just at the hinge, there are tack welds up in here right above it that will break. So what you do is just drill them out and re-tack them, as the bottom of the hinge sits right on this flimsy piece of metal. Alright, so now let's go ahead and take out the trunk carpet. I had a big mess in here, took it all out. Also took out the OEM jack that's usually over here. All you have to do is unscrew the tab, and on the other side is usually a lever. So you'll flip the lever up and then pull the jack out. Mine's a little bit rusty, so I had to cut it, and I'm going to go ahead and replace that whole piece from another car. So let's start with taking the battery tray out. It's two 13s. You have one right there and another one right there. Again, once you get the battery removed, you get some more light on it. There we go. Battery is usually held down by a 10. You have this piece right here, which is clamped down to the battery, and there's a little hole right there for it. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the 13 that's right here. Get that out. And then over here, we have a 13 and a 13 nut, one on each side. We're just gonna go ahead and lift it up. There is almost like a drain or like a water accumulator that's right here, so you kind of have to pull it up a little hard. It also does get stuck on the stud right here. I'm sorry, the lighting is not the best, so we'll just go ahead and pull up this way. You'll hear it pop, and just keep going, and the whole thing will come out. And as you can see at the bottom here, you can see where that accumulator is, more towards the front. And that just is just held in with a rubber seal right there and holds into place. So we'll go ahead and take that out. Two 13s for the ground strap we'll go ahead and take out, and then we'll go ahead and remove all the carpet. We'll start with the main easy one. Go ahead and just lift that up and out. Now we did already take the taillight section out when we took out the taillights. But just again for reference, is it'll sit in like this, and all you have to do is pull down and out, and that'll take out the taillight section carpet. Now for the driver's side, we're also gonna pull it out this way, so you'll just pull down as the clips are up here, so we'll just pull down, and then there is a tab in the back there that's usually connected, so just go ahead and pull it. You should be able to pull it right out. Now for the passenger side, it's a little trickier because of the cubby right here. So the easiest thing I found to do is I actually start from the top and pull just this section out. So go ahead and grab a corner, and you want to get it underneath, under the tabs. So just keep feeling until you get them out. And then from this point that you have this, we'll go ahead and lift up. Make sure there's no wires in the way. We'll lift up to get the lower section out, which can be a little tough. Like that. And then we'll go ahead and just yank it a little bit. Pull it out, over. Go ahead and pop that one out. So there's one last one in there, as you can see. It's held in by some push clips. So go ahead and get yourself some pliers. Get some needle nose, and we'll go ahead and come in here. And simply pull the tab out. And when you take them all out, it's just like that. Nice and easy, and it falls right out. Alrighty. And the last bits for the trunk. cover for the cable, which is just a 10. And then we also have 2 Phillips and a push pin at the bottom here. Come off with this. This comes off. Electrical connector right here. We'll go ahead and pull off, as well as one more 10. Electrical clip. And then the last 10 right here. And then the main power cable that runs to the back of the car. So what I recommend is first pulling it out of here. So go ahead and pop in and get that pushed out. And go ahead and pull the rubber grommet off. Go ahead and just slide the pin out. And then carefully slide that over. So you have a reusable grommet still. Tuck it back through. And now it is in the interior. So we'll go all the way back to the trunk. Go ahead and grab and just go ahead and pull it all the way through. And there we go. So let's go ahead and remove the rear struts. 4 13s, 2 on each side. You will also have a antenna right here, which is just a 10 and a few Phillips. Unfortunately, this one was already removed, so I cannot show you that. And we also have 10s holding in a lock right here. There's 3 of them in the back, 1 holding the actual lock itself into place, and 2 which hold the key release. And then there's also a tab that holds in the auto rotate for the lock. So just go ahead and stick a screwdriver in the back and you'll be able to see it. Just go ahead and pop it out. Just like that. And you can see the J hook right there kind of sticking out. Go ahead and just let that fall. And we'll go ahead and take the last screw out of the lock itself. We'll go ahead and slide that out towards the passenger side of the car. Slides right out. Take the last 2 screws out of here, which are 6s. And then just go ahead and disconnect the wiring, which just fell out by itself. Right there. Last but not least, we'll remove the trunk itself. I'm going to leave the cover on there. All it is the knob and 2 Phillips, and this whole piece comes off. If you have a spoiler, usually you'll have like 8 or 9 10 mils that go, white 10 mils that go all the way across here. And that's how you take your spoiler off. I am going to remove the wiring out of it. So we'll go ahead and start with a Phillips. Carefully pull it out. And then there is a ground up there. So we'll just go ahead and twist it, wiggle it until it wants to come off. Then go ahead and push the wire out, which I don't know if you could see is right here. So we'll go ahead and kind of just wiggle it out. There's a zip tie right here. Go ahead and cut the zip tie. And lastly, we'll go ahead and undo the 410s. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. Trunk is out.